one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I will allow the council members. Councilmember Gully is a member of the law committee.
I hear.
Beautiful. Councilmember Kennedy.
Present.
Okay, I'm in ex officio, and we also have present Councilmember Cummings and Councilmember December. So we will begin. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for the department heads? This is a new format that was adopted per the new charter, and anyone in the public can ask the department head or heads any questions. If they can't answer, we will have the answer as soon as we can through the city clerk. So anyone have any questions? I take it no?
I do have a question.
Yes, questions, comments, and we're in the law.
Come on down.
Come on
Okay.
down. And we just need your name and address for the record. Thank
Okay,
you.
my name is Jeanette Nicholson, and my address is 55 Second Ave.
Thank you.
I was just wondering if the amount of money that we spend defending ourselves as a city is in line with other cities about our size. I just have no clue
Good question.
about
Yeah.
how to look at the amount of money that we spend in litigation defending ourselves.
Sure.
So that's it.
Thank you, Jeanette. It's a very good question. And I'll hand it over
Thank
to Corporation Counsel Russo to fill us in. Good question.
That is an excellent question. I unfortunately don't have the answer to that. What I can say to you is I do know from speaking to my counterparts in Schenectady, which is around our size, and Albany, which is significantly larger, is that they both bring outside counsel or consultant attorneys. Not unlike the city of Troy, there are subject matters that myself and my staff admittedly are not equipped or experienced to handle. I'll give you a great example. The labor council, labor laws are a very difficult subject area. So I unfortunately cannot answer that question directly. I apologize.
You know, though, I think Jeanette was asking more the insurance and defending ourselves in that respect, not outside counsels.
Well, I guess it just seems to me we face a lot of lawsuits.
Litigate, yeah.
Yeah, litigation, and I guess our corporation counsel handles that for the most part. I'm just wondering if that the amount of money that we spend is sort of, is in line with other municipalities of our size and in the same sort of, urban area is all. It's just, there's no way to really measure or evaluate whether or not we should give them another 100,000 or subtract 100,000.
Yeah, understood. Councilmember Cully.
Jeanette, I understand your question, and I can tell you that the expense behind litigating cases is in direct correlation to how many incidents a municipality has. So one year they might have 5, the next year they might have 10, they might have 15, so that number will vary depending on the incidences in the municipality and in the governed area. At least that's what I would think.
I would agree with Councilmember Gully. He's accurate. I had a saying when I was practicing law in my private practice. You can be sued by anybody for anything. Whether they're successful or not is a different story. We can't stop people from bringing claims against the city of Troy. We don't live in a bubble. We don't live in a vacuum. No matter what our police, our fire, our city employees do, somewhere along the line, somebody's not going to be happy if they're going to sue us, and we have to defend it. I think that what is a fact of life in the city of Troy is we spend an extraordinary amount of money on consultants for our labor law, and that goes directly with respect to the claims brought against us by the PBA and the UFA. In my opinion, fact-based, is that so many of these claims are worthless and they are frivolous, but they bring them anyway because it's all part of the game. They think they're going to get ahead. They think they're going to gain bargaining power, leverage over us. We spend a tremendous amount of money on Goldberg Sagala. for the labor matters. There are other cases that, again, Mr. Gully is correct. There are other cases where they are very time intensive. We have to defend the city to the best of our ability. We have to protect the public fisc, and we have to vigorously litigate these cases, and lawyer fees get expensive.
Council President?
Yes.
Oh,
I just need 2
Council.
seconds.
Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
So if you look at 2 other comparable municipalities, City of Utica, their consultants' fees for their 2019-20 budget were requested at $206,000, approved at $177,000. However, they don't have personnel breakout, but their personnel cost in Corporation Counsel's office is $528,000, which is unbelievable. They have more people in their office. Binghamton, I can't find
That's a
their.
good comparison.
Binghamton, I can't find their corporation consultant line, however, I can speak to their comptroller. But I will note that they have 1 full-time corporation counsel. They have 1 assistant corporation counsel who they mark down as part-time but gets paid $80,000, which leads me to believe probably he or she works a lot more than part-time, I would hope.
Yes.
And then 2 other assistant corporation counsels. So just for context, for 2 other comparable municipalities.
Councilman.
So the staff for Binghamton is 1 corporation counsel, 1 assistant, that's part-time. 2 other assistant corporation counsels, a secretary, and a legal typist.
Is there a grant on that?
$247,000. Right.
Council President?
Yeah,
Thank you.
well,
Councilmember.
So when we're looking at these numbers, are we looking specifically at consultant services? I know, Jim, you mentioned,
Well, if I could just break, I apologize. So, Jeanette, I think it kind of answers your question. What I'd like to do is first, just for format wise, now that we're done with the question, if it's okay, have Jim and Andy do their presentation, then we can go into questions if that works. Okay, go for it.
Okay, starting with permanent salaries, they remain the same as they have for the past 3 years. With the 3 years I've been here, there are no increases for myself or my staff. We've actually decreased our office equipment, and then I talked this over, and we figured this is a way to save some money, so we got rid of the $1,000 for office equipment. Our office supply stays the same, materials and supplies stays the same, our postage is the same, as is our printing and advertising. Repairs to equipment is the same, dues and subscriptions. We have a decrease, significant, a 20,000 decrease in our consultant services, and this is where outside counsel is being paid. The explanation for the decrease in that is that we had a line item, I should use the word line item, that's just inappropriate. We had $10,000 in the budget for consultant services for the attorney, for the planning committee, and the zoning board of appeals. What we found was, based upon Steve Streitman's comments to us, was that that was an insufficient amount. We were spending more money on that. So Andy said to me, we're gonna double that line item. We're gonna double that amount for that budgetary allocation. We're gonna take that out of your consultant fee, now that's gonna be Steve Streitman. So he's gonna have $20,000 for his attorney, in his budget. The reason why that, I think there's several good reasons for that, not the least of which the BZA and the planning committee attorney should be separate apart from the corporation counsel. Particularly, we don't want somebody saying, oh, Joe or Jane got their zoning variance because they're pals with the mayor and the corp council's doing them a solid. We keep that out of the equation. It's a totally separate council. That person is not an employee of the city of Troy, and that's how we do it. So we bumped that up. Bond and note expense. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Bond and note was increased to $100,000, mainly because the cost is When you issue serial bonds as opposed to bond anticipation notes, it's more expensive primarily because we have to pay Moody's. Every time you issue serial bonds to have them rate them, that runs, just Moody's alone, costs between $12,000 and $15,000. We're looking at probably 2 serial bond issuances in 2020, one in January for that, and just based off the historical cost of what it costed for bond counsel. That also includes fiscal advisors working on debt issuances. There's a financial component and a legal component. That's the aggregate of the two.
Next item, 409-0026 is litigation expenses. These are expenses for people who are not attorneys. For example, when we hire experts, we hired 2 gentlemen from the state of Texas on the use of force. This is, by the way, is not Michael Rinaldi. That came out of the police budget. So that remains the same. Training, $2,500. My attitude is, in order to maintain our bar status, myself and my staff have to take CLE credit every 2 years. We have to amass a certain amount of credits. If these are directly related to what we do here, I believe the city of Troy should pay for that. It hasn't been enough, but I actually am going to be signed up for a seminar next week. The rest of the things are more of an easy category: pension, retirement, healthcare, social security, dental. Basically, the way it's saying to me, the numbers are what they are. Finally, on page 53, you do see our salaries, and you will see that there's me full-time, and then I have 3 part-timers, and again, those salaries remain the same. There's been no increase, and there's been no increase in numerous years.
Great. We'll open it up to questions, and Councilmember Benzember first.
Yeah, thank you. So I guess I just had a question related to, let's see, I had a couple questions. I was looking at the zombie consultant services, $90,000 less.
Yes.
Is that based on the New York State grants? What's that number?
That $90,000 was purely and specifically from the state of New York grant. That was not out of joint taxpayer funds.
Okay, but we've used that money in the past to hire a zombie enforcement officer, is that right?
Amongst
It's White and Oscar.
I'm sorry?
It's cost of White and Oscar.
No, there is actually, that 90,000 does also go to at least defer, if not the entire part of the salary of
It's a revenue one.
Does it? Oh, I thought it did.
The grant also pays for a code enforcement officer. However, this expense line is just to pay for the attorney for the zombie properties.
Okay,
The only non-zombie, so if you look at the next to 409, this is 113. Any cost not including the permanent salary, because we don't break out permanent salaries like that. It's just 101 line. Anything else, 113 is set up grant revenue, in addition to the salary piece. It was all budgeted off of documents provided from the planning office of what's remaining on the grant.
okay, thank you.
Councilmember Cummings.
I noticed this department, unlike others, has an increase in the healthcare line.
It's all dependent upon the enrollment. Change from single to family plan would be my guess.
And then, let's see. I mean, I think just structurally for our report and others, 85,000 for the top line.
85,698, yes, sir. Yes, I know. It's
For
pathetic.
the job that is needed here, for recruiting the talent that we need, what should we be looking at eventually?
Well, I can talk about comparables. I have a pretty good idea of what my fellow corp counsel make in the city of Albany, and the city of Schenectady. Schenectady not a whole lot more. Albany a lot more. Anecdotally, I know of a particular town attorney in a town in Saratoga County that makes $150,000.
Okay.
So yeah, eventually you're looking at,
I mean, in terms of recruiting, long term, recruiting talent for this position. Obviously, we have some good talent
And
as
I'm
it
sure
is.
you meant that
In a genuinely nice way.
So, I mean, we're lucky to have someone willing to do it, but my sense is that, these, particularly this and the engineering position are positions where, anyone who's able to do this job could probably have a job in the private sector at a much higher level, and thank you for spending your time with us.
Well, I thank you for acknowledging that, because there was a former city council member who used to give me a hard time. And I don't think he believed I worked hard, and
Jim? We'll jump around.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kennedy, and then I have a couple of questions. Thanks.
Yeah, why aren't there any, yeah, Thank you, I did notice that, I do appreciate it. Yeah, why aren't there any, increases in salaries?
We don't have, plain and simple, we don't have the money.
Who's we?
The city of Troy doesn't have the money. I mean, when you consider what the mayor makes, the deputy mayor, Andy, all of us, we're grossly underpaid. I mean, it's a fact of life. It's a cruel, hard fact of life. We don't have the money. I had no idea what a shoestring budget this city was run on till I took this job and I found out. Things are tight, This guy does a great job of counting those pennies. I don't know how he does it. He and Monica worked incredibly hard at coming up with this budget. It is what it is. I mean, no one's happy about
I was pretty happy about it,
it. You are?
I'm pretty happy about it.
I thought you were fine.
All right, Corporation Council,
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
the
this
consult,
departmental budget or the overall budget?
I'm talking about my budget. That's,
Oh, okay.
well, let's face it, the overall city budget, it's tight.
Yeah.
You don't need an ambulance to explain to you how that is. You see it.
Okay.
Facts are there.
okay. Corporation Council, I guess.
They really don't want this to happen.
I really don't. Is this a drill?
Are we supposed to exit the building?
That's
There
fine.
we go.
We are supposed to exit.
You want one?
Motion to adjourn.
Not only that,
Where's the actual fire?
There's a fire.
let's go find it and put it out.
and I think I'm gonna be kind of jammed up. I don't really anticipate that happening. I anticipate that the people that are currently doing work for us they know what the city can bear, they know what the city will do, and I think they're gonna come in with a good number.
Okay, and you gave me a list, I think Andy gave me a list of consultants. Did that include the attorneys also? God bless you.
Which one?
The list, I want to say a couple weeks ago, I asked for 2 different codes. I think it did, Andy. I think it did. I have it. I think I have it. If I can't find it, I'll let you know. And then and this is just a question, your waiver, were you granted it?
Oh, yes, I was.
Awesome.
I
When?
have an additional waiver until after I retire.
You said 2 years.
Yes, it actually was less than 2 years, but it is, you know what, I don't have that here, I believe I
It's
have it
okay.
over at home.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to provide that.
I know you can look it up also
Sure.
on that whole
I did
Sunshine
get the
website.
waiver,
Okay.
and it's good through, I'm gonna say like January 2021.
Okay. That's fine, I was just curious.
Right.
Good. Any questions your way, sir?
No.
Okay.
Alright.
Go for it.
Motion on the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2 or 3, let's go.
Opposed?
Finance.
Okay, we'll go into finance. I will call the finance for 6:22. Jim, thank you.
Thank you.